Okay, guys, so sorry I had to end things abruptly the other day and I didn't get to pick up where I left off, but I'm going to get right into this right now and try to get as much as I can into a few videos here and try to keep things moving. Now I should be able to make videos consistently, hopefully every day if I can, but let's get this started. Let's not waste any time. You guys will remember from my other videos how I explained to you about Sol Invictus, right? And this was a festival. It was a Roman festival that worships the sun god, as all false religions do. Now, you might remember I explained to you how the whole thing about the festival is it was a belief by the ancient religions that on December 21st or 22nd of every year, they believed that the sun had died. That's the winter solstice, because solstice means sun stands still. And the belief was that the powers of cold and darkness of winter and the arrival of winter had killed or defeated the sun. But the whole thing of the festival, which the full title of it was Dies Natalis Sol Invictus, which meant the rebirth of the unconquered sun. Because they believe that anywhere from 3 to 4 days later, about 3 days later, they believe, so on the evening of the 24th or the morning of the 25th, which is Christmas, of course, they believe that the sun god was reborn. Remember, I explained that to you guys. So now back up here, I explained to you guys how the Lord showed me that on January 20th, 2017, Obama received a political head wound representing his political death, and that the 3-year period or 3-day period, Sol Invictus, that meant that on January 20th, 2020 was the end of the 3 years. And that also, that was the 9th plague of Egypt, which was the 3 days of darkness, 3 years of darkness for the unsaved world that worships him as their God, basically. You know what I mean? Which is, now for us, being the children of God, just like Israel was, we were not in darkness, we had light, because our light is the light of Christ. But for the unsaved world that rejects Christ, they've been in 3 years of confusion and darkness spiritually without Obama. Remember, Satan calls himself the light bearer, or that's his title, Lucifer, the light bearer. So his thing is that he brings the light, that he is the light. So naturally his son, Obama, would be the light in their minds, all right, to the insane satanic world. Okay. So that represented a 3-year period. Now, before I go into the Super Bowl 47, I want to explain something to you guys. For those who don't know, on the night of, remember that election day in 2008, which was Obama's first election, the election day that year was November 4th. Well, as it is usually with the elections, it's not actually decided, the tally isn't decided and everything until sometime in the wee hours of the morning. So, being that the lottery had already been done by the time the election even began or whatever, that night, November 4th, the next corresponding day for the lottery, November 5th, the next day, there were lottery numbers that came out. The pick 3 in Illinois. I've explained this to you before, but I'm going to say it again. In Illinois, the pick 3, right after Obama had been elected, immediately right after, and of course he was from Illinois, from Chicago, the pick 3 numbers were 666. The pick 4 numbers was 7779. Now, in biblical terms, that spells out a sentence, which is Antichrist, perfect completion, God's judgment. But the Lord showed me something just today. The 666-7779 refers to this day right here, January 20th, 2017, because this was the day that 666 coincided with 777. Remember that Obama is the 666, Trump is 777, and the 9 is the 9th plague. It all began on that day. On that day, 666 left, received a political head wound. 777 was put into power, that's Trump. And then 9, the 3 days of darkness, the 9th plague, began on that day. Okay, so pointing to this day, January 20th, 2017. Now, what I want to get into with you now is what happened in Super Bowl 47. Now, Super Bowl 47 was called the Blackout Bowl. What happened was, this was between the San Francisco 49ers and Baltimore Ravens. Just after halftime in this game, at the start of the third quarter, the lights went out. Okay, there was a blackout and power outage that lasted for 34 minutes. Okay. Now, I didn't realize it at the time, but the Lord has since shown me the symbolism. What happened was the lights went out for 34 minutes, and then San Francisco began to make a run. They were down 28-6, and they began to make a run, and they scored 17 unanswered points. The Lord has shown me that this 34 minutes represents 3 years and 4 months. This is the period here of what happened from January 20th, 2017 to January 20th of this year. 3 years plus 4 months takes you to Pentecost. From January of this year, February, March, April, May. It brings you to May, which is Pentecost at the end of the month. Okay. Now, the Jews have Shavuot, which is the Hebrew word for Pentecost, being on May 29th. As Christians, we always celebrate it on a Sunday, so we have it as May 31st. Okay. Now, the lights went out, and it lasted for 3 years and 4 months. Remember, the lights going out points to the evil Hanukkah menorah that I spoke of. Obama was in office for 8 years, and again, they consider themselves to be the light. Then the light was removed, just like Hanukkah, 8 days. The light was the light, and remember, he's not the light, but he's a false Christ. So the false light was removed on this day after 8 years. And then when the lights went out, it lasted, they were telling you in the Super Bowl, it would last for 3 years and 4 months. Okay? 3 years and 4 months. From January 20th, 2017, the day he was removed, until Pentecost of 2020. 3 years and 4 months. That's what they were telling you. Now, I'm going to wrap this one up real quick so I can move on to the next thing. So the question is, if Satan knew Jesus was not born, because Satan is intelligent enough and was around and in those days to know this, if he knew Jesus was not born on December 25th, why even claim that day? Why claim 12/25 as the day and call it to be Christmas? Well, we know that it's all about the symbolism of the birth of the sun god. But the question is, why 12/25? Why that day? This is very simple, and the Lord showed me this, and this is pretty crazy. I'm going to confirm it to you in iPad Goat, but I'm going to show it to you right now. And when I saw this, I couldn't believe that none of us had seen this already. All right, this is very simple. When you take January 20th, 2017, all right, our start date from right here, January 20th, 2017, to May 29th, 2020, guess how many days you get? 1,225. There it is right there. January 20th, 2017 to May 29th, 2020. 1,225 days. There's your 12/25 right there. Simple as that. See, it wasn't about December 25th. They were telling you that the rebirth of the sun god would be after 1,225 days. Pentecost. They were pointing you to Pentecost of 2020. Now, I'm going to confirm this repeatedly over and over again. I'm going to show you just a ridiculous amount of confirmations that the Lord has given me. But I wanted to set it up with that so we can get right into the next video and show you this. All right? So let's continue with that.